Could you have ever imagined that you would be the face of ESPN?
Hell no. Think about it. I was there from 2003 and 2009. I got let go over a contract dispute. I'm out of the game for 2 years. Nobody will touch me in the world of television. Unemployed for a year, living off my savings. And then the second year, I was brought back, but I wasn't allowed on television. So to go from there to being that voice and that face for ESPN, I don't even know how to put it into words. I know a lot of hard work came in. I was blessed. I think I've earned it, but nevertheless, there's a lot of people that are incredibly talented that don't get what they've earned.
Stephen A. Smith is in the news again, not because he got into a Malika Andrews.
Is all of this being publicized? The point that I'm trying to make is just like you're not mentioning. Excuse me. I listened to you. You're the one telling me to stop on my show. It ain't happening. Okay, that's number one. No.
Or because he said Steve Nash was undeserving of a coaching job, only to be fired.
I will say this. I believe that eventually this season, a coaching change is going to take place in Brooklyn. Kevin Durant, when he demanded the trade, reportedly wanted Steve Nash and Marks gone. I think Steve Nash will not last this season.
Or even predicted Brooklyn would bring back their assistant coach, Ime Udoka.
I believe that if Ime Udoka had been fired by the Boston Celtics, the Brooklyn Nets would have fired Steve Nash and brought that brother back, and he would be the coach for the Brooklyn Nets right now. That's how emphatic I feel about that.
I believe he is laying the foundation from his exit from ESPN. Let's look at how he got hired to understand his story.
When ESPN hired me, I had to go through 18 interviews.
18?
In a day, like 15 minutes.
The car wash, yeah.
Car wash. And my last one was Mike McQuaid, senior producer at ESPN, who's one of the elite dudes in this business. And Mike McQuaid looked me in my face and he said, "You were at Fox Sports. That's sort of like, you the big man on campus. You sort of like the big fish in a little pond. Well, ESPN, we consider ourselves big ponds. So how are you going to feel about being the little fish in the big pond?" And I said, "I mean no disrespect, but I ain't gonna be no little fish in anybody's pond. Put me in front of the camera, turn the lights on, move out the way, and watch me do what I do."
See that right there? No real respect and no confidence for him entering in the company. Imagine how many other people probably went through less interviews. And remember that one time ESPN didn't renew his contract only for him to come back 2 years later? He never forgot that, neither did I. But what's happening is he's the LeBron James of ESPN, but he feels like he's not getting compensated. And I agree with him. He's looking at how all the other analysts, how much they're getting paid and how much less work they actually do. But here's the clip where he talks about being underpaid.
We are still black in this country. We don't trust this country in terms of meritocracy always. We know the bottom line is that just like women are underpaid compared to male counterparts, blacks are underpaid compared to white counterparts. And so when you look at it from that perspective, and of course, people look at me, I'm not talking about me, even though I got news for you. I am underpaid compared to some people on television and what they get paid, but that's a subject for another day. I ain't apologizing for that to a damn soul. I am underpaid. Having said all of that, it ain't about me.
Now, the clip split some people as they said 12 million is generous. That's a generous salary. Who wouldn't want to be making 12 million? If the company is bringing in 120 million off me and I'm only making 12 million, then I may have a problem making 12 million. But let's look at the other analysts and their salary to see if he has a point. So $129.5 million is paid out amongst the top 10 sports analysts. Who is at the top? Or the bottom? Skip Bayless, 8 million. I mean, he's just getting paid to argue with Shannon Sharp. So, I mean, he on his way out. Mike Tirico. Who is checking for Mike Tirico? But notice that 10 million he's getting, he wouldn't be getting it if he was still at ESPN. He had to leave ESPN to go to NBC. Jim Nantz. Who's checking for Jim Nantz? But he's on CBS Sports. And he's been doing it. He's been around a while. So his 10.5 million is more so for seniority as opposed to maybe hard work. But, who am I to judge? There's Stephen A. Smith at his 12 million. I believe he has like an $8 million salary with a $4 million production bonus or some type of compensation. Joe Buck, 15 million on Fox, another legacy. Al Michaels, 15 million. Should Al Michaels be making more than Stephen A. Smith? And he's calling games for Amazon. Now, you know, Jeff Bezos got all that money to pay him 15 million to call 16 games a year? Come on. Now, Michael Strahan, 17 million. Some of his money comes from Good Morning America, but I want to know how much he's getting paid by Fox, because he's an analyst there and he's deserving because, you know, he brings a lot of knowledge to the game. Now we getting up there. Troy Aikman. Who's watching the game for Troy Aikman's takes? Nobody. But then again, I'm sure some people who've been watching sports for 20 years because that's how long he's been doing it. And they're like, hey, I want Troy Aikman to call the game. 18 million, signed a 5-year, 90 million deal with ESPN to be the lead Monday analyst for Monday Night Football. Troy Aikman making more than Stephen A? Tony Romo. Now this guy, a lot of people didn't like Tony Romo because he came in the game making way more than people who were doing it for longer. But, you know, if you watch the games that he called, he be spot on. He had 18 million. Jim Rome, he is in a league of his own because his show has plenty of sponsors, plenty of advertisers. So I don't know if Stephen A. think he should be getting Jim Rome money. He like the Joe Rogan of sportscast. Maybe he should, maybe he shouldn't. That's up for him to decide. But most of these contracts are legacy contracts. Stephen A. is probably worth about 20 million a year. Will ESPN give him that? Never. He can argue that to make Jim Rome money if, you know, he actually produced a 3-hour show, but most of his shows are like 1 hour with a bunch of takes. Quick, boom, boom, in and out, he's done. Jim Rome's show, I ain't gonna lie, man. His show has a lot of production, fast, witty jokes, plenty of money, plenty of sponsors. He could probably get 25 mil, but he would have to be on a prove it contract. But what he's going to have to do, he's likely going to have to leave ESPN. But where would he go? Who would pay him what he feels he's worth? He has to go to CBS Sports. If you can't beat him, join him. It's either going to be CBS Sports or Fox Sports because CBS, all they got is Jim Rome. He go to CBS, they pimp him out like they do at ESPN, bring up CBS Sports, bring some people with him on some Jerry Maguire stuff, and the stock rises. I would say in a wild card, he can go to Fox Sports and it'd be him versus Shannon Sharp because Skip Bayless is on his way out. What do y'all think? Do y'all feel like he's underpaid? And he's not underpaid because he's black. He's underpaid because he's at ESPN and they just don't value him. He need to take the Mike Tirico route and pack his bags and get up out of there, go somewhere else where he's valued and appreciated and he's making enough money to where a point where he ain't complaining about his salary on national TV. Let me know what y'all think. Drop a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.